get started.
I know it's hard to believe, but it's almost time to put 2022 in the rear view and start looking ahead to 2023. So here at MHP Team SI, we've gathered our experts to look into the new year at our 2023 marketing predictions. Now we have with us Patrick Pipkin, who is our media director at MHP Team SI. He deals a lot with TV, CTV, everything you see on the TV in general. And he's gonna talk a little bit about what we might see in that realm in the next year. How are you doing today, Patrick?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. Awesome. So before we look ahead into the next year, let's take a second and look back at 2022. Is there anything that really stands out to you that happened in the last year in the world of media?
This past year has been a lot of growth really, really fast. I think that's one of the biggest things that everybody was kind of predicting over this next year. Things are going to change, especially in the TV space. But I think it accelerated a lot faster than people anticipated, as we went out of COVID and saw that bump in the changes and everything. And then next thing you know, it's been 6 months and you have entire content ownership groups that are pushing all their stuff to streaming. You've got movies that are releasing direct to streaming platforms instead of going to theaters or both of that kind of thing. I think that was a big surprise of how quickly everything changed.
Yeah, absolutely. And so looking forward in 2023, those kind of things are going to stick, won't they?
So one of the big things that's going to change for 2023 is a continuation of what has just started in 2022, which is live TV, appointment TV. We'll start to see more and more of a shift over to streaming. You've got Amazon that took Thursday Night Football for NFL. Mm-hmm. You have Apple TV Apple Plus is taking over all of MLS soccer. So this is all live. This is all appointment. This is all you want to tune in at that time type of stuff. So just that was the start. And it's an announcement we've just made that Chris Rock is going to be doing his big live comedy tour thing on Netflix, and that's like big news. It's their first big live event. That's not going to be big news coming into 2023. That's just going to be kind of the standard. You've got, like I said before, you've got movies that are going direct from being released immediately to a streaming platform, get more people to sign up for that platform. You're going to see more of that live content go straight to platform as well, and that's going to draw the viewers. So people are going to shift and follow that. The viewers are going to follow the content. So you'll see more and more people who the only reason that they have cable is because they want ESPN and SEC Network. And so they're going to take that, like, okay, well, if 70% of my games are on these streaming platforms, I'm just going to go to the streaming platform so I can watch those.
Right. So it's almost as if the streaming platforms are becoming cable. We're going back to the way things
were. It's just a big circle. It's kind of becoming cable. It's just kind of, now it's a lot more advantageous for advertisers, right, because it's a lot more targeted. It's a lot more direct. It's a lot more measurable than cable was historically. And honestly, it's a little bit better for the user as well, for the viewers, because they can access what they want in kind of more bite-sized ways. They have easier access to it. They don't have to buy a package with 200 channels. They can buy, this one provider. But that's also going to kind of reach a tipping point too, when people don't want to stack 10 different providers. They don't want to have a Hulu and a Discovery Plus and a Netflix and a Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So they're going to get a little bit fed up and kind of hit their cap about how many services they want to stack on. And the password sharing has been something that has been talked about for a while that's going to be cracked down on. So if that does happen, then I think you'll see more consolidation of those ownership groups, so whoever owns the content. So, for example, Disney owns a big stake in Hulu as well, obviously in Disney Plus, ESPN Plus. So if they just merge all that stuff together, they've got all the viewers that want all that content that are parting and piecing. They just go all to that one mega platform. So I could see that going that direction.
When you consider appointment TV moving from linear to streaming platforms, how does that change the way in which we advertise that appointment TV? Is it similar to how we did it in linear? Is it more similar to CTV, or is it a blend of the two?
So that's a good question. It's going to be a little bit of the blend of the two. One thing that's going to be a little bit more difficult at the start is right now I can go and I want to be in this one particular football game. Is that that NFL as the example. So if I want to be in that one game, I can go to my one rep in this one market, and I can place $1,000. Here's your ad in that game, or however many ads I want to place. In the future, if the provider is buying it programmatically, then guaranteeing that one impression in that one game to a mass audience is going to be a little bit more difficult because it doesn't really work that way from the buy standpoint. Now you can if you're a large advertiser, and say if you're a Coca-Cola or a P&G or something like that, and you've got these big bucks, and you're not working with any type of programmatic marketplace, but you're spending millions of dollars direct with the publisher. You're working with with Netflix, who owns this content, to place in that program. Then you can guarantee that, but it's a little bit more difficult to guarantee. So that's going to be a little bit of a shift from an advertising perspective. But the trade-off there is you have so much more targetability when it comes to the location and the person or persons that you're looking to reach. So maybe you're not reaching that game specifically, but you're reaching potentially that game, everything around that game, and then but the only people that you're hitting are the homeowners with this certain household income, with X number of children in the house, and then like to go on walks on Tuesdays. That kind of thing. Much more targeted, so each impression stretches a little bit further.
And then I think a second thing to consider with appointment TV is you have to have an omni-channel strategy with that.
Absolutely.
You have people are on there. Everyone's multitasking nowadays. You're on Twitter, you're watching TV at the same time. The ads are hitting you multiple places. It's more effective. Yeah,
and that's been something that's grown a lot over the past several years. Has been the multitasking. That's not going anywhere. People are going to be on their phones. I can't remember what the stat is, but the majority of people are multitasking on their phones. Some people are on the tablets, that kind of thing, but most on the cell phones. Looking through social media, through Twitter, especially like during games, they're on their phones on Twitter, and so having that kind of social listening, for brands having social listening and catching those quick moments that they can plug in right at the right time. But then from the omni-channel perspective, beyond that, saying, all right, we're gonna have the high CPM, the expensive stuff here, in this live program, or even just on CTV in general, or linear TV still, because that's still going to be relevant. Then having your ad placement all over the place, and maybe if you know that you're going to be placing a whole lot of dollars and a whole lot of density into a certain game or a certain time of day or some type of an event, that type of thing, then upping your bids, upping your spends, kind of doubling down on all the other supportive tactics. So when people are on their phones, when they're going to the computers and that type of thing, they're seeing your ad in multiple places and being hit multiple times at a much lower cost.
Right. It's definitely not effective just to place a Super Bowl ad or.
No, I mean, oh God, I can talk for an hour about that one. Yeah. Don't place one Super Bowl ad. Never worth it. Don't spend $1 million on one ad. Right. Now, do a full campaign around it. Build it up leading up to it. Everything around during the game. The ad runs. The ad is just like the culmination of this entire campaign. It's never just one spot. So if you're going to put all your money into a really expensive single placement, support it everywhere else with more cost-effective advertising.
Right. So speaking of the Super Bowl, something we saw last year was a pretty innovative ad where company had a QR code bounce around the screen for 30 seconds and ended up crashing their website.
Yeah,
but
it's a good problem to have.
Are we going to end up seeing more stuff like that, more interactive advertising?
Yes, yeah. So the QR code was just the start, and the QR code is going to stick around. Yeah. I just see that it's got some staying power now. But I think you'll see more natural integrations with media, especially, again, going back to CTV. You'll see more point to purchase type of setups. So Roku has recently partnered with Walmart. And so if you're watching TV, you can get an ad, just normal natural ad break. Get an ad and you see that one product and it's on sale right now. And I can click on it, I can go to it and I can order it from my Roku TV in real time. Don't have to leave the platform. I don't have to get up and grab a computer or a phone or whatever. I can do it right there. So you're going to see more integrations like that. And that live product streaming is going to be, live product integration is going to be really important. So if companies are able to connect their inventory feeds directly to the platform, it's going to be really, really big.
Wow. So is that going to expand beyond Walmart within the next year, do you think?
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
smaller
Walmart's
e-commerce brands?
So Walmart right now, they're huge. They've got a ton of money to put into the technology to make this happen, and they're big enough to make it worth the investment. But I think once this test is through, you're going to see a lot of other brands start to jump on in that way. I don't think it'll be in the first couple of months of 2023, but I think by middle to end of the year, you'll see that all over the place.
Right.
And I think it'll definitely start with the big companies. As everything does, it's going to start with the big dollars and then kind of trickle down to the local level. And then, but from your point on the e-commerce, if the company's foundation is e-commerce and built with that framework in place, they're already a step ahead than somebody that is their baseline is brick and mortar and they don't even know what e-commerce is yet. They're going to be a step behind from that kind of setup.
Sure. So really, it sounds like a big goal, a big trend moving forward is convenience for the consumer.
Absolutely, yeah, convenience. So however long ago, when you go to the grocery store, somebody had the great idea of putting the candy bars right at the checkout line. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But now it's product integrations in the platform of whatever you're watching. So instead of standing there, looking at the magazines or something like that on the rack and saying, I don't think I want to buy that snack. Now I'm sitting here watching TV, here's the ad break. Oh, I kind of think I might need that. And you know what? It's only $10. I think I'll buy it real quick. And it's done. And then, you catch people when they're looking to buy right at that moment. If they think about it again, come back later, you know what? It's really not in the budget. Probably shouldn't do that. That type of thinking goes through. If you catch them in the moment, then you've got that extra sale.
Impulse buys.
Impulse buys.
Yeah. So what other trends do you see coming up besides convenience? What else do you have coming up in the next year?
Let's see. So cost is going to be a big thing. We already talked about cost.
No, we haven't.
Okay. So cost is going to be a big thing when it comes to advertisers and the strain that they might feel. So there's economic uncertainty going on. We don't know if there's going to be a recession. People are predicting it, but nobody's got the crystal ball. So even with that in mind, advertisers are going to be potentially pulling back on spend. So if and when that happens, or even if they don't pull back on spend, they're going to want to see results from everything that they're spending their money on. So return on ad spend is going to be really important. It's going to be really important to just show the proof in the pudding and not just say, okay, I delivered 1,000 impressions. It's going to be, what did you do for my company? Yeah. How did you move my bottom line? Or how did you increase my top line? That's fine too. But I need to see something a little bit more tangible. And so you're going to see that trickle down to the agency level, to the advertiser level, where people are having to report on those things differently. Yeah. So in the past, Nielsen has always been the gold standard when it comes to video measurement, period. Before there was any other video, it was all TV. And I reached, this many impressions, this reach and frequency of men 35-64. And that was it. That's the measurement that you got. We've already moved away from that, and you're gonna see that just go even more so to the extreme. When this past year, when NBCU partnered with iSpot TV for their measurement, that was all based off of much more tangible, results-oriented type of measurement. And they're not even an accredited currency, so to speak. But they're not saying we're buying them because it's currency. We're buying them for the results. So we're gonna run this, test it, measure it, change. Run it, test it, measure it, change. And so you'll see a lot of these iterative changes over and over again, and that's gonna be the more of the standard across the board for the measurement and for the performance.
So really you're looking for more data and I'm guessing audience segmentation as well?
Audience segmentation for sure, always more data.
Yeah.
But then also not just measuring something for the sake of measuring, but what is it doing for the company? And why does it matter? Like telling the story and telling information with that data. I mean, you can say X CPM and X impression and X website visits, like, cool, that's great. What does that mean for my company? Sure. What is that, why is that valuable to me? Sure. So that's gonna be something that's really important. It's always been important, but I think you'll see a lot more companies and advertisers that really see the importance of it and really double down on it.
Sure. Internally, we have some really cool methods that we've developed of measurement and attribution and reporting. I know as far as linear TV and then comparing that with website visits. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So TV and other traditional media tactics have operated most recently a little bit higher in the funnel, but a lot of people don't like the fact that they're not very measurable from an action standpoint. What are people doing with it? And we have developed a system that essentially takes all of that information about when TV spots, we'll use that example, TV spots are airing, and then overlay that with website traffic. And not just, we look at the website and then we look at TV and do we see a lift? There's a lot more statistics and a lot more code writing and methodologies that go into it that people much smarter than me have come up with and written for us. But it's really, really cool to see that when we air certain programs or certain stations that we can see certain lifts on certain pages. Which is a totally new perspective for something like linear TV. And like I said before, everything starts with the big money, with the big companies and everything. You've got big companies that have started doing this, and they've been investing in it for a couple of years, but that exists at the multi-million-dollar level. Now we're able to start doing these things at the local level and see that type of thing for advertisers that aren't spending $10 million a year. They're spending $100,000 a year, and we're actually able to start to do this type of measurement. So it's something that's really, really exciting for our agency to kind of initiate and turn on.
Sure, and that's going to play a bigger role as we move forward into some uncertainty.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is no set it and forget it anymore. And so if you say, if you're going to run a TV schedule with a certain number of stations, and then, yes, these stations are performing well as far as viewership goes. Excellent. But those stations are really driving a whole lot of website traffic and specifically to certain products that we're looking to sell. Well, we're going to move the money away from the expensive high viewership stations over these stations. That optimization can happen more real time. We don't have to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months to see whether or not somebody got a sales lift. Yeah. We can see more real time and make those adjustments kind of in the moment, just like you would do with any type of programmatic media.
Awesome. I think another piece of this puzzle with the economic uncertainty that lies ahead in the next year is how that's going to affect streaming services. I remember seeing that streaming services are really one of the first things people might cut whenever they think about cutting expenses during a recession or something like that. And so how do you think that'll affect advertisers? Will we start to see advertisements on streaming services like Netflix? Will you see prices raised for that? Will you see CTV or advertising prices go up?
I think you're going to see a couple of those things. You've already seen that Netflix is introducing an ad-supported tier. Disney Plus is going to introduce an ad-supported tier. You'll see more of that because they know that they've got to make more revenue. When the belt gets tightened, they got to make money somewhere, and advertising is a quick way to do it. It's a really effective way to do it, and people are used to ads. I mean, we've all grown up with ads. Even people that are young that have never watched traditional TV, they are very much aware of ads, just in different ways and different platforms. So you'll see more companies putting money into that. You're also going to see a crackdown on password sharing.
Yeah.
And as that happens, people aren't going to want to pay for 20 different streaming services. They're going to say, these are the ones that I care about. So You'll also see that, like I said before, that consolidation of some of those platforms. And you also see more type of platforms and I guess content available on what's called FAST, free advertised streaming TV. And so that is going to essentially not require any type of special login or monthly fee or anything. It's 100% ad supported. They can just go on, watch the content that they want to watch, and go on their way. They don't have to worry about like subscribing to something new. You know, Crackle was one of the first ones that come out many years ago, and you've got Tubi and Pluto and everything like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to watch as we go forward.
Yeah.
Is there any other big trends you see coming up within the next year?
I mean, there's a whole lot. One other trend that I think is worth noting is you're going to see more short form TV or short form video make its way to TV. Okay. So YouTube TV is obviously a platform you can go on to watch live TV and that kind of thing. But you're seeing a lot of people that are watching YouTube videos on TV. So it's something, they're only watching a 2-minute video. It's not necessarily the tutorial, but it's content that they want to watch. It's entertainment, that type of thing. Yeah. You'll see more of that move into the big screen kind of space. I mean, TikTok has been, just going like gangbusters, and it's snackable. It's so fast, it's easy. There's no commitment. I can watch something for 6 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. And you're going to see that with the TV screen too. It's like, I don't have a whole hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to sit and watch TV, but I do have 15 minutes. So I'm going to sit here and watch a couple of videos, but I want to watch it on my big screen. So you're going to see a bit more of that going on.
Well, even last week, me and my friends put a TikTok app on the smart TV, and we're watching TikTok on the TV.
And so I'm watching everything on my little phone.
Instead of huddling around the phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a little easier. It's now it can be more co-watching and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Patrick, thanks so much for joining us. It was really cool to hear about all the exciting things going on in the world of TV and streaming services. And I'm sure that world is ever evolving. So we're going to come back in a year and there's going to be all kinds of new stuff to talk about. So that's exciting. Thank you all for watching online. If you want to learn more about how you can advertise on TV or on streaming services, check out our website, mhptmsi.com. And we'll see you next time.
Here we go.